Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for Framework for a Healthy After-School Program, CACFP Meal Requirements, and Healthy Eating in the Classroom. My name is Ligia Alexander, and I am the Food Programs Vista for the New York State Network for Youth Success. On our agenda today, I will begin by sharing some information about the New York State Network for Youth Success, followed by a brief review of the Child and Adult Care Food Program, logistics, requirements, and enrollment process. I will then move on to the theme of the webinar, opening the forum to discuss CACFP eligible healthy suppers and snacks, menu planning tips, crediting meals with CACFP, and reinforcing healthy eating in the after-school classroom. Sorry about that. This webinar is part of a series, and our first webinar took place last week and included information on getting enrolled with guest presenters from the New York State Department of Health and Hunger Solutions New York. If you missed it, you can watch the full recording and download the slides from our child nutrition webpage, which I will provide the link to at the end, as well as other resource links mentioned during the rest of the webinar. In our upcoming webinars, we will be covering topics on maintaining paperwork, barriers to enrollment, and developing relationships with vendors or food service companies. We will also be seeking suggestions for further topics in the post-survey after this webinar, so please feel free to provide your input. So let's begin. Formerly known as Afterschool Works New York and the New York State Afterschool Network, we are the New York State Network for Youth Success. Despite our name change, we continue to advocate to increase access to high-quality expanded learning programs, and we provide resources and development programs to support high quality. We support many types of out-of-school time programs that foster youth success, including after-school and summer programs, community schools, and expanded learning time schools. Our mission is to strengthen the capacity and commitment of communities, programs, and professionals to increase access to high-quality programs and services beyond the traditional classroom. Our network is made up of 10 regional networks, including New York City networks, and our advisory council is made up of our public partners, and our board members come from many of our partnering agencies. We provide program accreditation for after-school programs to increase program quality and publicly certify that quality. And we also offer a credential for after-school professionals that meet the education requirements in the school-age child care regulations that can be used as a professional development tool. Additionally, we offer membership for professionals across the state, providing access to numerous targeted resources and a discount on all statewide conferences. We are the state affiliate for the National After-School Association, so our members also become associate members with the NAA. And here's a list of our regional networks across the state. Child nutrition is an important initiative of the Network for Youth Success. We provide free resources on child nutrition and want to increase enrollment across the state in the Child and Adult Care Food Program, better known as CACFP, so that programs like yours can take advantage of reimbursements for serving healthy suppers and snacks. This not only provides an opportunity to make your program more sustainable through bringing in additional resources, but serving healthy suppers and snacks is a component of a high-quality program. Furthermore, with the new school-age child care regulations through the Office of Children and Family Services, programs that serve snacks are required to meet the CACFP guidelines for those snacks anyway, so getting enrolled for reimbursement makes even more sense. So how can you get connected? You can visit our webpage at www.networkfeedsuccess.org to learn more about the services we provide, our regional networks, and the initiatives we support. You can also sign up for our listserv to receive our monthly newsletter, and you can follow us on social media, on Facebook and on Twitter. Now let's move on to a brief review of the Child and Adult Care Food Program, or CACFP. The program is a federally funded nutrition assistance food program. It supports students and their families after-school programs through reimbursements for those eligible meals and/or snacks, and it provides programs with free program materials, technical assistance, and training opportunities. Enroll programs also have access to nutritionists for guidance in crediting meals and help assistance with compliance. CACFP also helps to enhance the nutrition quality of meals and snacks offers, thereby attracting children to the program. And with the improved nutritional quality of meals served, children concentrate better during the after-school program on educational materials covered and increases in program participation. So what is required to enroll? For the rest of the webinar, we will be focusing on the at-risk component of CACFP, where enrollment is based on geographical or area eligibility. This simply means that a program must be located in a low-income area served by a public school, that is a elementary, middle, or high school, in which 50% or more of the children enrolled are eligible for free or reduced price school meals. The after-school program must operate during the school year, that is September to June, on a regular basis during non-school hours. The program may also be operated by a school, public, or private organization. Even though the program must run during the school year, after-school programs are encouraged to enroll for the summer food service program, which extends over into the those summer months where reimbursements are not received. So you can get reimbursements through the summer food service program for the summer meals. Here are the new reimbursement rates for fiscal year 2017. Highlighted in red are the at-risk rates, which is at the level of the free rate, as we can see at the top, offering the highest reimbursement. Eligible programs will therefore be reimbursed $3.16 for each of their CACFP creditable suppers and 86 cents for snacks. An additional 23 cents is reimbursed for suppers claimed by after-school programs receiving cash in lieu of commodities, where in addition to cash reimbursement, USDA FNS makes donated agricultural foods or cash in lieu of donated foods available to after-school programs participating in CACFP. It's important to note that these figures are revised annually and shared once they're released. So stay clear of that and keep up to date. So what are the benefits of enrollment? The program provides many benefits for children who are served. This is as the program providers can receive reimbursement for children attending the program, the after-school program, up until their 19th birthday. They can provide either snack, supper, or both at the free or reduced price rate. And meals can be provided as either as a breakfast, lunch, or supper for weekend programs and during school holidays, programs that run during the school holidays. And it's compliant with the school-age child care requirements. In fact, in a case study conducted by the No Kid Hungry Organization Center for Best Practices, it was found that a school with 450 students that achieves 80% participation in the after-school meals program serves suppers Monday through Friday during a typical school year, would generate nearly $220,000 in reimbursements and commodities over the course of the year. So what's next? To apply to CACFP or find out more information, contact the New York State Department of Health, CACFP, at the email provided with the subject line Outreach Coordinator, or contact Ms. Mary Ellen Flynn directly at the Outreach Unit at the phone number provided here. And while you're waiting for your enrollment approval, programs are encouraged to take advantage of the following opportunities, which are termed as transitional meals or foods. So in Yonkers, Stu Leonard's, they're a local grocery. They're inclined to participate in donated foods or in-kind donations, as well as the New York City Food Bank and certain other superstores. Now that we've gained an understanding of the meal program, CACFP, and its potential benefits it holds for children who are served, let's explore CACFP requirements in the context of those meals. Effective October 1st, 2017, CACFP participants are expected to follow a new meal pattern guidelines. Significant changes to the guidelines include the prohibition of sweet grains or grain-based desserts. There is now a separation of the vegetable and fruit component. Only fat-free flavored milk is creditable as opposed to 1% flavored milk. And now programs are able to use non-dairy milk substitutes that are equivalently nutritious as dairy for special cases. After-school programs which operate in New York State are recommended to follow the Healthy Child Meal Pattern developed by the New York State Department of Health. This is because they were developed based on New York State best practices, and that entails having a 2.5-hour gap between meals, supper, and snack. That is when supper and snack is served, ensuring that meals are eaten at the site with peers, and that menus which are submitted along with other papers specify when flavored milk is used. And here we have that Healthy Child Meal Pattern chart. The chart includes age groups and minimum required serving size for each age group. It has been updated to reflect changes to the meal pattern, which offers a greater variety of vegetables and fruits with that separated component, more whole grains, and more protein options by the addition of tofu. Today, we'll be focusing on after-school providers working with the age group 6 to 18 years. And that's one of the important updates to the meal guidelines, which is the expansion of that age group, so that it not only confirms that the maximum age group, the maximum age that a child can be enrolled in the program and it's covered by CACFP, but that it raises awareness that by having older children in the program, you may need to serve a little more than what is minimally required. That said, if you're serving a snack at minimum, providers would select 2 of the 5 components listed and serve them at the required serving size. So if you served a vegetable and a grain, you would serve 3/4 cup of vegetable or 100% juice and 1 serving of grain. and they expand on the grain options in the lunch or supper, just to be respective of spacing. And if serving supper, at minimum, providers will provide each child serving size according to the age group, but each component will be served. Providers should strive to meet the dietary needs of the children served. So that's, again, adhering to that increased age group for those older kids in the program. I've included some additional guidelines to ensure that your meals meet CACFP standards and provide more clarity when planning meals. So when serving grains and bread, you require at least one serving of grain per day must be whole grain rich. And starting October 1st, 2019, these charts will now, grain servings will now be ounce equivalents will be used to determine creditable grains. And for meat or meat alternative, you want to ensure that your yogurt is fat-free or low-fat, prepared without artificial sweeteners and sugar, and it must be less than 23 grams of sugar per 6 ounce. Tofu now counts as a meat alternative, but must meet CACFP guidelines, which is extrapolated upon in your CACFP crediting handbook. And for your milk, only unflavored milk for children ages 1 to 5 years. It's recommended that unflavored, fat-free, or a low-fat milk is for school-age children. And for the vegetables and fruits, no more than one serving of 100% juice per day is served, and cannot serve 2 fruit components at supper. We recommend that vegetables and fruits should be fresh, frozen, or canned, and prepared without no added sugar, salt, or fat. Now we can get into, it is important to note again that for New York State, providers are recommended to use the CACFP handbook, CACFP crediting handbook found on the New York State Department of Health's website, and not the USDA handbook, since, again, this was created based on New York State best practices. Now we can get into menu planning and things to consider for implementation. When planning meals and menus, you want to consider your budget, food safety, variety, compliance, and your consumers. And we'll be expanding on these topics moving forward. So when it comes to your budget, providers should consider sponsorship options to maximize reimbursements while managing the costs and responsibilities. Providers operating inside of a school can partner with the school's nutrition department's existing meal sponsor, who can handle the administration so that you can focus more on meals. There is a maximum of 15% of the reimbursement can go to cover the administrative costs, but that's exactly after the cost of meals. Or if the program operates outside of a school, providers should factor in staff and volunteers required for food preparation. However, if operating inside of a school, we really encourage that programs use the school as the vendor. A few of our registered providers noted that they would like to know how to order supper and snacks that are CACFP creditable. One option would be to present to your food vendor a list of, or your food service company, a list of the following required components, along with a suggested menu like one that I would provide later on in the webinar. This way, you and your food vendor can be on the same page. Providers should consider the number of participants, participating students, and this can easily be found based on a previous weekly meal count. It is also useful to consider where you will source your produce for providers operating outside of a kitchen, and ask yourself if you have any special events or holidays coming up. Are you planning on buying only fresh ingredients for fruits? For fruits and vegetables, that's great, but if you don't have access to a refrigerator and the program operates daily, you'd have to purchase these daily, so that's really something you want to bear in mind. When planning menus, it's also really useful to keep the reimbursement rates on hand. You want each meal to fall within the reimbursement cost per meal. So let's say you plan to serve yogurt parfaits for sorry, not yogurt parfaits. Well, it wouldn't have the granola yogurt with fresh fruit. You want to ask yourself how many servings does that large container of yogurt provide, and when calculated, what is the cost per serving? Then you divide the final cost, by the number of servings to obtain the cost per meal. Another thing to consider is food safety, of course. What types of storage equipment would be needed? Will the meals be prepared on site? When preparing on site, you require additional tools and equipment. And what measures need to be taken to ensure that all foods are served in a safe way? It's also great to consider variety. CACFP aims to increase the nutritional quality of meals served. So when speaking about nutritional quality, providers should consider to include a variety in all the meals that are served. Serving fresh fruits and vegetables are best, eating colors of the rainbow, and ensuring that foods have a healthy balance of both macronutrients and micronutrients. In particular, you want to pay attention to the amounts of sodium, sugar, and trans fats in meals served, and when using canned goods, aim for products without added salt and sugars. Providers then, of course, need to consider if their meals are compliant with Cacfp requirements. By compliance, we mean that all 5 components are served at or above the minimum requirement, and you ask questions like, and that the type of food that is served is creditable. And lastly, providers should consider their consumers, your students. What is the age group of the children being served, which translates to what are their necessary serving sizes? Who are you serving? To reduce food waste, it would be good to consider the population dynamic of the students served. An after-school program of mostly Hispanic and South American students should try to provide healthy meals which resemble foods that these children are used to. So maybe having one cultural meal per week. This also provides a great opportunity to use food to educate about different cultures. Another great thing to consider is those holiday and seasonal events, which offers a great opportunity to show that holidays can still be celebrated with healthy options. Another option is offer versus serve, which allows programs to offer all the meal components, but students are not required to take all of the items. This can lower plate waste and food costs. However, offer versus serve cannot be used for snacks. So now this brings us to crediting meals with Cacfp. To recap, when discussing crediting meals, you want to ask yourself, do you plan to provide supper or snack, or supper and snack? Because for New York State programs, you want to ensure that you have that 2.5-hour gap between meals. The required food components differ for a snack and supper, so these are also things to consider when creating and logging menus. What is the age group of the students being served? What are the required components? To reiterate again, for supper, it's all 5 components, 8-ounce milk or dairy equivalent, 2-ounce meat alternative, 3/4 cup of fruit, and a 3/4 cup of vegetable. You can also serve 2 vegetables, but not 2 fruits, and a 1/2 cup of grain or 1 serving of grain. For snack, 2 of those 5 components must be served. And lastly, you want to make sure that if you're serving only the minimum requirement for each component, that it is satisfying your students. Program providers should aim to ensure that suppers and snacks served satisfy students' energy needs, which may often be beyond the minimum requirement for each component. So let's move on to a short sample activity. Here is an example of a CCFP, here's an example of a supper meal. However, as we can see, not all required components are favored. Milk has been provided, although fat-free or 1% milk must be served to meet CCFP requirements and be creditable. And here we have an example of a snack, which once there are no nut and seed allergies in your program, can simply be a slice of whole grain bread, peanut butter, and a banana. You want to make sure that it meets this minimum requirement, required serving size, and the peanut butter is a meat alternative. Sorry, not a meat. And this is a perfect example of meeting the requirement, the required component, but aiming to meet the energy needs of children. So instead of just serving 2 of those 5 components, I've gone ahead and put 4 components actually. Now I would like to give you a chance to determine a creditable meal. So, which of the following options is a CCFP creditable supper? That's right. Option B, C, is CCFP creditable. Option B has the fruit is in a sugar. It's not in water, the fruit cup, and all other options don't satisfy the required components. And now we have a snack sample. Which of the following options is a CCFP creditable snack? Yes, that is right. Option B is CCFP creditable. Option D is not whole grain. However, if you're serving supper, if you're serving both supper and snack, you want to if you're serving both supper and snack and your supper has met the whole grain component, it would be okay to serve option D. But if you're serving only snack, it would definitely need to be whole grain. Now let's move on to a few sample menus that I've included. So here we have a sample menu, which will be made available at the end of the webinar. This covers an entire week of what you might see for suppers in an after school. The hot menu might be used for a program with access to a full kitchen, and the cold menu might be used for a program without kitchen access. Next, we have a sample snack menu for a week in an after-school program. You can see that there is plenty of room for variety, even while staying within Cacfp guidelines. I've included ways you can get creative with the new meal pattern, like the inclusion of tofu and soy-based yogurt, and taking advantage of that separated fruit and vegetable component. Now that we've covered healthy eating, let's explore how we can continue to teach about healthy eating through educational and enrichment activities with healthy eating in the classroom, reinforcing the importance of healthy eating through educational and/or enrichment activity. Nutrition education as an enrichment component offers many benefits for an after-school program. It reinforces the importance of healthy eating. It can be implemented as a STEM activity that educates students on sustainability and food agriculture and food issues. It also does a great way of connecting students with their local community, and parents can become involved, bringing local communities together. Here are a few examples of nutrition education curriculums which are available for free online. Many universities and organizations tend to offer piloted curriculums for free. These can also be accessed through the SNAP Ed library, which I've provided a link to in the resources section. And just as equally important, I'd like to touch briefly on the inclusion of physical activity as an enrichment component which works hand in hand with nutrition education. The YMCA's Healthy Eating and Physical Activity Standards, HEPA standards, do a great job at helping programs ensure that they provide high-quality healthy eating and physical activity practices. And some of their standards include ensuring that all training on healthy eating is comprehensive, evidence-based, does not support a particular industry or food sector agenda, and delivered by qualified personnel. That play takes place outdoors whenever possible, and that daily physical activity time includes aerobic and age-appropriate muscle and bone strengthening and cardiorespiratory fitness activities. And here are a few links to those healthy eating in the classroom resources. And here are a few child nutrition resources, including a link to the New York State Crediting Foods and Cacfp Handbook, the Healthy Child Meal Pattern based on New York City best practices, and a link to our Child Nutrition Initiatives page. This brings us to the end of the webinar, and I'd just like to thank you for joining us today for Framework for a Healthy After School Program. Thank you.